Good night to the Belizean people at home and abroad. Tonight we bring you this, our 59th edition of Belizean Affairs. As usual, on a night like tonight, we start our show with a prayer reading and by a scripture reading, followed by a prayer reading. So, with that said, I go to Mr. Wade for the reading.
Pleasant good night to our viewers and listeners, both at home and abroad. And it's always a pleasure to be in your company, guys. Give thanks and praise to the Almighty for giving us this day, this beautiful day. And as you rightfully says, Greg, we'll jump right into it. Um, I I will continue on Timothy chapter 6, 1 to 10. Says, let all who are under a yoke of bond servant regard their own masters as worthy of all honor, so that the name of God and the teaching may not be reviled. Those who have believing masters must not be disrespectful on the grounds that they are brothers. Rather, they must serve all the better, since those who benefit by their good service are believers and beloved. Teach and urge these things. If anyone teaches a different doctrine and does not agree with the sound words of the Lord Jesus Christ and the teaching that accords with godliness, he is puffed up with conceit and understanding nothing. He has an unhealthy craving for controversy and for quarrels about words, which produce envy, dissension, slander, evil suspicions, and constant friction amongst people who are depraved in mind and deprived of the truth, imagining that godliness is a means of gain. But godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into the world, and we cannot take anything out of the world. But if we have food and clothing, with these things we will be content. But those who desire to be rich falls into temptation, into a snare, into many senseless and harmful desires that purge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. It is though this craving that some have wandered away from the faith and piercing themselves with many prongs. But as for you, O man of God, flee these things, pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, steadfastness, and gentleness. That's my reading from Timothy 1 to chapter 6, 1 to 10.
Thank you for your reading, Mr. Wade. Mr. Brackett.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Uh, just like to ask that we bow our head for a short prayer, if you don't mind. Divine loving Father, we come before thee again, asking that thou mayest continue to bless us, strengthen us, give us wisdom, knowledge, understanding, endurance, perseverance, and please protect us. Please help us to present a good program tonight that may be of information to the general public at home and abroad. Please continue to bless our family members, each and every one of them, to nourish them by name and number. Please guide our country and its leaders. Take us and make us and mold us after thy will. For we ask these mercies in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen, amen. I thank you for that, Mr. Brackett.
Ancestors, them get glory. After war and fight for this land, today I feel proud to be Belizean. And every time I walk through the streets, I feel so blessed, so good and so free. And every time my foot touch the beach, I feel so at peace, thanking God for my country. And I don't know how it make you feel when the breeze such a fuck as you start to chew up, but I'm kinda living in a fantasy. It's the only place that I wanna be. My Belize, my homeland by the sea, beautiful with the trees and valleys, culture rich with a one big family, all the way from the mountains to the keys. Your vacation dream is home to me. Belize. Make I tell you a little bit about my history. Home Belize was a British crown colony. By September 1981, we take back we country in a we hands. And every time I think about Belize, I feel so blessed, so good and so free. Place full of a diversity, we Creole got the culture as la vie. And I don't know how it make you feel when the drums start not make you want to dig it up, but I'm kinda living in a fantasy. It's the only place that I wanna be. My Belize, my homeland by the sea, beautiful with the trees and valleys, culture rich with a one big family, all the way from the mountains to the keys. Your vacation dream is home to me. Belize, my Belize, Belize.
Good night to the Belizean people at home and abroad. And this is our 59th edition of Belizean Affairs. We thank you for tuning in. And tonight, let's start the program. Gentlemen, in 2020, the past administration passed the cybercrime bill to curb bullying and to help prevent a lot of other measures. Gentlemen, tonight we are going to discuss some part of that bill as well as the new bill the government is looking to deal with, the Farmatory Bill. There will be an open discussion so the people at home and abroad can understand about their fundamental rights that is being taught to them from third parties via a constitution reform. With that said, let's not forget that these programs are for educational purpose and it is based on our belief, and we will continue to come to you with these programs so that it might enlighten you. With that said, gentlemen, let's go to the first video.
I rise in support of the cybercrime bill. As we discussed in the House Committee meeting on Wednesday, we think this is long overdue. It should have been done maybe 15 years ago. But the Africans say the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The next best time is now. And so we on this side welcome this bill. And we acknowledge all the people all over the country in high and low places, the special envoy and her team, other people, single mothers and others all over the country who lobbied to bring this bill to fruition. Also all the people who have been cyberbullied in the past, who have been ridiculed, embarrassed, caused emotional distress. Some have had to leave this country because it's too small, because people's eyes had started to become or feel like bullets in the back everywhere they went. We salute them wherever they are. Madam Speaker, this bill is comprehensive, game-changing. The rules as we know it will never be the same. I think it's important for us to spell out some to the public what's inside this bill. No longer will anyone be allowed to take pics of someone's private parts without their permission and publish that all over social media to harass, ridicule, embarrass, or intimidate or blackmail a person. No longer will anyone be allowed to threaten to publish personal or private information to extort or cause ridicule or shame to another person. No longer will anyone be allowed to disseminate information they know to be false with the intent to embarrass or harm someone's reputation. No longer will anyone be allowed to lure children into child pornography or to engage in a sexual conversation with a child. No longer will anyone be allowed to arrange a meeting with a child for the purpose of abusing or engaging in sexual activity with the child, even if you take no steps to actually effect this meeting. This legislation is strong and it's far-reaching. If you commit any of these offenses, you will go to jail, and you will go to jail for long, and you will have to pay hefty fines. The bill outlaws everything from illegal access to a computer without the owner's permission, illegal use of the computer data without the owner's permission, to computer-related forgeries and identity-related fraud and theft. And if someone aids or abets or advises or encourages someone to violate any provisions of this bill, that person will be treated as if they are the principal offender. The rules, the old rules as we know it in social media, will be no more.
These cyber crimes have to do with business fraud, identity theft. Illegal access to a computer system is an offense. Illegal access to the data of that computer will be an offense. Illegal interference of that data will be an offense. Illegal system interference, when you're interfering with more than just one individual computer, a whole system, a network. Illegal devices and code. This business about pirating is now going to be an offense. So if you're sitting at home and you have a CD or a flash drive that you're going to push in your brand new computer, and somebody has given you codes to load on Microsoft Office and Microsoft Word and Excel and all of that, and that code was gathered illegally, you are committing an offense. These are things that people in our country do every day, and we don't want them to be caught, Madam Speaker, without knowing that this is something that is illegal. The committee felt so strongly about this that we believe that if somebody is convicted, caught intentionally in these offenses, Madam Speaker, that there should be no discretion on the part of the magistrate, that in fact that person should be forced to pay the penalty and indeed get some prison time as a result of this. So we are sending the signal there is zero tolerance for this kind of thing. You will go to jail and you will have to pay a very stiff financial penalty together.
Now, gentlemen, you heard the video. My question to you guys is this. While the bill is a strong bill and rightfully so will protect the gender base and is good for female, there are three things I find about the bill that I want to speak about. The showing of pictures, the part about threatening, and the part about defamatory, defaming somebody. I go to you first, Mr. Wade, and I will give you this example. When the Honorable Minister Mala called out the leader of the opposition to come outside and have a fight, does this bill cover that? Do you believe this bill cover that?
Oh man.
Guys,
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, and I'm sorry, Mr. Weird, but
we got to.
I have to laugh
We got
at.
to.
It's not the question that I'm laughing
Yeah.
at, I'm
Yeah.
laughing at the ideology or the idea. I know I'm not the one that's supposed to be speaking because I wasn't called on, but I just want to justify my having to burst out in laughter just now.
Yes.
At how these people are so atrocious in both parties, by the way, okay, to be coming up with shenanigans just in order to exculpate themselves, or as in the case of this father, he's going to talk craziness about the people in Belize can't put no information on their own personal private computer that they bought and that they are paying their electricity, pay whatever else they have to pay in order to run their systems or do whatever they're doing. He's going to jump on the side of foreign interests to stop you from using on Microsoft Word or on Microsoft whatever or any other program that you can get and use. I'll deal with that when I get my chance. But I just wanted to say how ludicrous these guys are. I couldn't resist having to laugh that these people are coming to the house and want to make laws that they damn well know are contravening the rights of people, local Belizeans, and the Constitution itself. Please excuse my outburst of laughter, and please accept my
I
apologies
thank you,
for
Mr. Brackett, for your
interrupting while I
input.
was
Mr.
the one being
Wade, back
called
to
on.
you on the question. Do you believe
I
that
my
action
brother.
of Honorable Minister Mala fall within the categories of this cybercrime bill?
My brother, I say this that first of all, thank you for asking that question. We have been saying all along, that these guys passes laws to suit them when it is convenient. And we have said that they are the gross violators of our constitution.
Mm-hmm.
We've been saying that. You see where this bill, when it generated from the UDP, right? So it makes me wonder, did the UDP had on the back burner and had presented to the PUP that, make we talk about changing the constitution, make we talk about take Belize into a republic, it makes me wonder. Because none of them have issues with what this present government is doing. So that makes me believe that they were all in line from way back.
Mm-hmm.
So now, he says, what happened to the Mala guy? What happened to Shine? What happened to Faber? Hasn't they violated?
They all deserve to be in jail.
You see? What happened to the rest of them?
Including the Prime Minister.
And present. Haven't they violated? But guess what? As we all know, there are ministers, and there are people with power. that the people entrusted to them, and this is the end result.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about the bukut. This is the no, I mean, this is all a bunch of crap, right? When I say crap, they're not crap for them, because then they set up themselves, right? Then they set up themselves so when they leave office or whatever they do while they're in office, they are untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
Untouchable. They pass his law to suit them, and in one reading, the prime minister made the the reference that he wants the age from 60 to 65 to be amended because the auditor general he wanted was over 60.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to go back a little to show you that these people will do whatever they want to do to us, and they get away because they have everything in place. All the heads of department and all departments are headed by people who they put in place.
Mm-hmm.
So who dare touch them, right? Now, the problem now is that you see the laws they pass, who does it affect? Who? I will not answer that because I've always says, we not see nothing yet. We not see nothing yet by this two-party system. And this one now, like I say, People's United Party have news for we, Have news for we,
Mm-hmm.
right? And a lot, I've said it before, a lot of we fanatics who think that these people are kings and gods and queens and whatever you want to call them. They do no wrong. Wake up, One of the same one who I say, man, I never believed this may happen, right? But like I say, look now, the laws they are passing.
Mr. Wade, again, I thank you for your input, but the question was, do you feel that the cybercrime bill, with the action of Mr. Marla to Mr. Shine, calling him outside, do you believe that Mr. Marla fall under this bill and could have been arrested?
Should have been.
I said, like I said, they pass in laws to suit themselves. They will never be arrested. And makes me jump a little forward as to now. You think Mr. Perez is going to any jail? And I applaud the victim, and I hope and pray that she presses forward to the full extent and making sure that her rights are heard by the courts, making sure that she gets vindicated, right? And I just hope and pray that, the good Lord give her that will and give her that fortitude and don't turn back, full force ahead and get her day in court with Mr. Perez. Because that law, again, you'll hear what Cordell Hyde said, all the things that it will cover. They made it done the plan, They done made the plan.
Mm-hmm.
See, Mr. Perez get caught now. You see, with the same law that they pass, that they shouldn't touch Mr. Perez now. This thing they happen long time, But like back to you, Mr. Chairman, is that the individual, like I mentioned, Shine, I mentioned, Faber and the rest of them that hiding, the bill does not affect them, The laws that they are passing does not affect them and will not affect them, right? These are rogue people. Just imagine that Belize was a republic. Just imagine.
Mhm.
Those of you who, think that it's all fine and dandy when Belize become a republic.
Mhm.
Nothing yet. See nothing yet, Mr. Chairman. I
I
said it
thank you
before.
for that, Mr. Wade.
They will not touch these
I,
guys.
I go to you, Mr. Brackett. Based on the cybercrime bill and what was said to the Honorable Tracy Pantan by Mr. Albert May, do you believe that he violated this cybercrime bill that was passed into law?
Yes, he did. And they all should be in jail as far as I'm concerned. They not silence me because I tell them like it is. Whether they like it or not, they could just do the next best, scare me in a court like they say they want to do, and send me to jail if they could get that far. Question. As regards to this young lady, the lawyer who had a problem with the minister, for whom this law now is being propagated and put in place to try and create an immunity card for him so as to resurrect back his political career or to stabilize his political career so that he can go back and run again and win the division again for them, because that's what it's all at play at the end of the day. It is not about making laws to serve the best interests of the country. It's about making punitive laws to serve their own personal self-interest. Because if they were making laws to serve the interests of the country, they would have put in COP in place as one of the first effort of lawmaking when they got into office, because they promised that they was going to deal with it. So they know what time of the day it is. It is not the time of the day for them to be caught with uncock over the head with their kind of behavior, and especially as regards to this particular instance with this young lady and this minister was dealing with government assets as far as the minister is concerned. He's trying to put it that the young lady was trying to how you call it? Not bribe,
Blackmail.
blackmail him. He only bring that out in his own self-defense to try and besmirch the young lady. Because all the time before that, we come out in public, me they enjoy himself, me they have fun. Where was he then in public, telling the public what this young lady was doing to him in terms of serving his personal needs? And if I may say, go to the word sexual needs, because that's really what it was about. It wasn't just needs as a better ear word. It was needs as an action in terms of a behavior that was going on for a while, as a matter of fact. Okay? So make them cut the shenanigans out and the craziness out and stop bamboozling with people and stop playing the fool and stop to try to further victimize the people by creating laws against the interests and well-being of the people and population who put them in power in the first place. They should not be taking that authority or power that we vested in them to come back and cause us any further harm. They should be looking out for our interests as a minimum. They don't want to create the laws that we are asking them for. Why the hell they have to go all the way to create laws that we know they asked them for, and they never promised or tell us that they was going to be creating with our power? Otherwise, we know me and get in the power. They know that. So it's now after we don't get in the power, they know then they try halfway. And I know this one time, 2 times, 3 times, every time they go and create a law, look back at every law that they have created since they got into office. And it's all negative in the well-being and interest of we people and population. And a lot of them are directly to the heart of the black people in Belize. Because according to them, only black people commit crime, or only black people are subject to being criminals, or only black people are the people that are causing problems in the country. The MS-13 where they bring in at the country and where they filter through the borders in at the country, and they even overpower and one communities, the government don't have no time to pay attention to that. They don't make no SOE to deal with that. That's what they should be doing. That's what good governance is about. As regards to the issue of Mr. Shine being challenged by Mr. Mala, how asinine this guy has to be to sit in our assembly or sacred House of Representatives and conduct himself in that kind of manner, as if he's not smart enough and capable of better. For him to actually issue a personal threat, an invitation to violence to one of the one members of the House at that. I mean, these guys, they want to make law to stop we from talk, but what then they do? Stop the way they do, then we don't have to talk, because when we talk and complain about what they do, it's not worse than what they do. How crazy can these idiots be? Then they want to penalize we for talking about what they do. Or then consider what we say about what they do as being liable. You can't be liable with the truth. Start commit the crime, even though you know they do the time. Then we don't have to talk about it. At least the public get to hear what we are saying. And I want to make sure that I read it back to the fat-head liars them in the present government, okay? Give me a second, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Brackett, I don't want you to read the new bill right now.
No, I'm not reading no bill right now. I know they read no bill. Give me a chance.
Okay.
I want to read something that is germane and specific to what is it I'm saying right now from the Constitution itself, so as to make sure that people understand that I'm not just ranting and raving and getting upset at what these criminal elements are doing in our government as members of our government.
Go ahead, sir.
The Constitution of Belize, Cap 4, Part 2, Section 12, Subsection 1, reads as follows. And I'm going to take my time, Mr. Chairman. Hopefully, I don't abuse your time. I'll take my time and read it because I want people to pay attention and listen and hear what I'm saying. And hopefully, it's sinking the people in the head, as well as these knuckleheads who are supposed to be liars, who's supposed to know this particular section here by heart. And it's not too long or too difficult for them to understand what it's talking about, because it's talking about just the opposite of what they are advocating and trying to stipulate as their lawmaking effort. Let me read it. I'm overdoing it. I'm talking too much. Let me read the stuff. Section 12, subsection 1, reads as follows. Except with his own consent, a person shall not be hindered in the enjoyment of his freedom of expressions, including freedom to hold opinions without interference, freedom to receive ideas and information without interference, freedom to communicate ideas and information without interference, whether the communication be to the public in general or generally, or to any person or a class of persons, and freedom from interference with his correspondence. In other words, when you are on the cyber platforms, then corresponding back and forth with each other, speaking with each other, that's your correspondence. Mr. Deputy Prime Minister, if you don't know, Maybe you're not a lawyer, therefore maybe you don't know, so I could excuse you for making such a grievous statement to the to the president of the speaker of the house, in implying that we don't want to put into law or consider to be a law, even though it contravenes the constitution, because we don't have a majority, we don't pass it, and it's supposed to become part of the constitution. No, sir. Okay, if all 100% of in the house, all the UDP get together and help 31 of pass such unconstitutional law, doesn't make it constitutional. You just pass one bogus law that the court will strike down, as they have done repeatedly over and over and over. And that's why I want to lose the case them over and over. Because when you insist in being scarf laws, when you insist in trying to bullyrag the process, and in trying to create laws, hoping that the laws will stay on the book and victimize people. That's on our agenda. So long as I have breath to run through my body, the constitution will be hung around on the head, or around on the neck. I will not have to deal with it. I will not have to face it, because I will not let it go. We're in a different era now. We're in an era where the constitution is going to be allowed to reign supreme and be the supreme law of our land. Now we come out of knuckleheads, out with that and over with that. Stop, go to the house and make unconstitutional laws, and stop the try bullyrag the process and take advantage of the general public. Because we're giving you the chance to create laws. We're giving you the chance to create laws, and the rules says that we don't have to make those laws for the benefit of the public, for the well-being of the public and the country. And those laws have to be done within the constitution that we swore allegiance to when we went to get the powers assented to become ministers. Okay? So don't come to we the tell me no kind of craziness. I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, and be worse than before. And this is going for no. Stay on our lane. Lawmakers, make legal laws. Don't make laws that are null and void. Laws that are stillbirth from the very first time when you conceive it now on your head. Even before you put it on paper to carry to the house, or to go to cabinet and then get cabinet recommendation. Because when you follow procedures partially, but if you follow the procedures correctly, before the last one pass, get to cabinet, carry sensible ideas to cabinet, to make cabinet bring to the house. We don't care bogus and unconstitutional stuff. The least thing you could do, talk to the lies among you, because like I said before, some of you not know the constitution enough. Some of you don't know the law when you go and study. Because like when you study, when you go at the law school, but you never attend some of the classes. And then when you come back home, as lawyers, and still can't do the right thing. Having to have laws they want to write struck down over and over and over. I don't know, do that waste Belizean taxpayers' money. They pay for the salary for the commit crimes against the people. And then come with stupidness now to talk about when you want to stop people from telling you when to go wrong or when to do not to do right. Carry that in the back pocket and back home, man. Don't bring that here.
I thank you for that, Mr. Brackett.
You're welcome.
But let me say this to the people at home and abroad, and to you guys as my virtual host. The question I asked you guys, I will answer it for you. The bill was a cybercrime bill, meaning that both Mr. Mai and Mr. Mala violated it and should have been charged because cyber, it was being televised live at the time when they made those statements. That is what I was getting
and it's
at.
on record.
Okay? Now,
Disgraceful.
with me saying that, I believe that the new defamatory bill that the government has passed or is about to pass will be discriminating when it comes to gender based, especially female. Instead of moving forward, we will be moving backward.
Mm-hmm.
This cybercrime bill spoke of three things that caught my attention: the showing of pictures, threat, and there's something else in it that I think I can't quite remember. But let me go to this tape to show you guys what I'm speaking about. When I'm saying that it is discriminative to gender based, mainly female, because the new bill that they are coming with will put a strangle on female that they might not want to step forward if anything happens to them. Let me go to the video first.
Mr. Chairman, one before you launch it, one point. This bill is not about the general public. It is about one specific incident that they are trying to rehabilitate this gentleman about and put the fear in the rest of us and the community. It's one thing.
We will go to the bill, but let's listen to this.
Jules, I don't have any information about any cabinet inquiry or cabinet legal review or any legal review by the Attorney General's office or any such thing, because no one from the government of Belize has contacted me to ask for my side of the story or to see what evidence I have in hand. It is all a sham. I myself would like to see the results of that one-sided so-called investigation or legal review, if there even is one, because I have a right to respond to whatever it is that's said about me. In that review, if that review was carried out, in particular if it paints me in a bad light, I have a right to respond to that. Jules, the Prime Minister himself, without ever even having had a conversation with me, has made sound bites to the media, repeated sound bites. I'm not talking about just one time, in support of his childhood friend from Orange Walk. Now, he's made these comments to the effect that he said two things that I've heard repeatedly. Number one, that what transpired between Minister Pierce and I was a personal matter, and number two, that they shouldn't have been sharing photos, that the photos shouldn't have been shared. What that says to me, Jules, as a lawyer, is that the Prime Minister has chosen to downplay Minister Pierce's predatory behavior and recast it as something personal. Remember, sexual assault is something criminal. So if he recategorizes it as something personal, that's a soundbite that he's trying to give out. He is trying to exculpate Mr. Pierce, Andre Pierce, from having to face, well, basically in the public eye. He's trying to recast what happened as a non-criminal matter. Jules, by adding words to the effect that I'm a nation, I'm sending photos wrong, that's all I will say. That's all I will say. As a lawyer, what I take that to mean is that the Prime Minister is impliedly threatening me. He is threatening me that if I don't toe, and this is my interpretation, he's threatening me that if I don't toe the official line, that this was a personal matter, that got out of hand, that I face the risk of being criminally charged and arrested for allegedly distributing the photos of Minister Perez's penis, something which I have denied doing completely. I would never do anything like that. It's state bullying at the highest levels. Let's be clear what it is.
Those are the facts.
Now, gentlemen, you can hear what the lady said. She has been placed in the category of the cybercrime bill. That is where they have her, because the pictures were showed on social media or on WhatsApp. Now let me hear from.
No, before.
Yes, go ahead.
I know. while whoever you're going to call on right now, while that person is talking, can you cue back again the first part of Mr. Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Hyde's comment? Because initially when he started his comment, it sounded to me, and I think it sounds pretty much to the general public who would hear it, that he was actually commenting on the issue of this young lady lawyer and wanting to create this law in support of her or
No,
people
no,
like
no,
her.
no. Wait.
No, wait.
Let me let
Um,
me let
no,
me
I'm just
express
asking
this
you.
to
I'm
you.
just asking you this so that you can cue that, because the first part of that statement that he made backs up this young lady's present statement. Okay, and that's what I was trying to
Right. But
make sure that people get
what
the.
you wait, what you have to understand,
Uh,
they are placing this attorney in the cybercrime bill. The
mhm.
bill was passed from way back in 2020 when the past government was in power,
Yes.
but they are using it now to attack her because of the picture that was shown. She falls under the category of violating the cybercrime bill. Now, gentlemen, with the video that I had just shown you and the cybercrime bill, which was put there to protect many individuals, including, I would say, the most when it comes to gender based female. I believe that if you are now going to come with a new bill and attack individuals, and I will tell you why, I will discuss that later on, you are silencing people and you are going to, not going to, you are unconstitutionally violating their right of freedom of speech
As I
and
just read,
protection, equal protection of law.
Section 12.1.
Okay?
I just read it.
Now, Mr.
Self-explanatory.
Wade, with that said, let me hear you on that.
No, it's so sad, my brother. It's so sad to see, been saying all along, see the level that these guys will stoop to 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 um to take them out of the public scrutiny, to to pollute the public, right? Pollute them. And the strong part is to silent people who easily get frightened,
Mhm.
right? You said, Greg, that what will happen to females who want to come forward, right? What will happen to them, right? When they have pictures and all the other evidence, and they want to put it on social media, they want to publicize it. They will be charged according to the bill and the laws that they are passing, right? And the fear that they are instilling in the nation, right? Because and only one thing, they instill fear in the entire nation, right? So, like I've said before, on the victim there, from Mr. Perez victim, um, I don't know if there's a way, she's an attorney, how she could take even the prime minister to court based on what he had told her, right? So,
Mr. Wade, that is based on what Mr. Hyde said in the cyber bill. Any accomplice can be charged.
Mm-hmm. That's
They said
that's
it.
why I'm asking if you queue it up.
Okay,
I'm gonna lash them back with it with them one
They said
word.
it,
okay,
not us.
okay. So,
And let me tell you also, outside of that, because of this cybercrime bill, I believe the Prime Minister falls in the category when he sent the political deal to go and get an opinion and he hide it and then got
Mm-hmm.
caught.
Criminal conduct
so, my brother,
at the highest level.
my brothers,
A bunch of
who,
scofflaws and scoundrels.
yes, who will this law be applicable to?
The
Like
victims,
I'm saying, right?
the victims,
Victim, right?
further
Victim,
victimized.
right? So they will be discouraged, like, you know, the prime minister already told her what will happen to her or what could happen to her, right? If she does not withdraw certain items out of the media, right? So is she gonna be bullied? Is she gonna be, in a, or say, well, like, get afraid to do what she needs to do?
But she said it in her one word, Mr.
Yes.
Wade. State bullying. What's more powerful
So
than state bullying? When you have the
what
assets of
we
the state
want,
at your disposal,
what we want the public to know now, that this same law was the brainchild of the UDP.
Mm-hmm.
We want that to sink in, right? We want that to sink in. So
Well,
who is better than who here? They are all the same, a bunch of scoundrels, right? None of them has any good intention for people and nation, but just for their own self, to clear them in whatever wrongdoings, whatever corruption, whatever thing they get into. They are making laws to clear themselves, that nobody cannot take them to court. And makes me wonder, has this government already got rid of our constitution and has a new constitution?
in the back pocket.
Makes me want, you mentioned that, back pocket, right? No, I mean, this is serious, right?
Very
This is
serious. Very serious.
serious, right? Because we see how little by little by little they're taking away our God-given rights,
Mm-hmm. Trampling on it big
right?
time.
Little by little they are doing that. And I mentioned previously, pretty soon they're gonna come and say this bus is for this class of people, and this bus going back to slavery, right back to slavery, where the masters rule and they categorize everyone, put all their ducks in row as to how they want to put it. And what can you do about it? What can you do about it? So, my people, open your eyes, open your eyes. So, that is all I got to say on that. Back to you,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Wade, I thank you for your input. Mr. Brackett, I move now to you,
Yes,
and I
sir.
would like to hear what you have to say in regards to the last video that I just showed you, the second video that I just showed. Go ahead, sir.
Uh, about the young lady's statement, you mean?
Yes,
The
it
young
is,
lady's statement, Mr.
sir.
Chairman?
Yes, it is, sir.
As I said, the young lady stipulated in her own words precisely what the facts are as regards to the bullying part of it. She is the victim, and because the other ones they have egg pan and face, and they want to save their political career as well as the career of their friends, they want to use the powers of the state to commit what is called a high state crime. State bullying. State bullying is a high state crime. In other words, it comes with the effect of the powers of the state behind it. It is not just a regular crime. It comes with the powers of the state behind it. And the Constitution forbids any such scenarios or circumstance from occurring. It forbids the state from committing any crime against its citizens, whether actual or just perceived. Because there's a thing that you call psychological harm. A person doesn't have to physically be hit. They can, like Mr. Hyde said, the bullying on the internet, which is what he was talking about in terms of the bullying that he was trying to use as a cover for the bullying that his colleague was doing on this young lady. They threatened the young lady with suit to sue her so she could stop making this matter stay in public, or
And
for her
criminally,
to be silenced. They threatened her with suit. And the young man has the powers of the state lining up behind him in his defense. So where then does she go for recourse? Other than to the court? But she has the whole state to fight in the court. All the mechanics and the levers of the state, including the resources of the state, that she can never as a single individual match. So even if she were to prevail at the first level, at the Supreme Court, they could push the matter into an appellate process that will end up costing her additional bigger money than just to go to the Supreme Court. And if she was to win there, they can push it to the CCJ, which again is another big sum of money. Because you don't get to the CCJ without a pocket full of dollars. You got to have top-notch lawyers, researchers to back up those lawyers, and you have to pay a big-time fee just for your case to be heard. And then that you got to waste time. So if she was to win at the Supreme Court and she was to win at the appellate court, they will still take her probably to the CCJ, hoping that she don't have the money and can't come up with the money, and therefore, over a period of time, she would lose her chance or opportunity to be vindicated or to have the ruling stay, because they would probably ask for emergency hearing at the court if they figure out she can't come up with the money or nobody donate to her or help her out. And they would hope to prevail. And even if they prevail there, I mean, if she prevails again at the third level, at the highest level, that don't mean that they will follow through and do what the court says, because we have seen our government of Belize repeatedly act as scofflaws, disobeying the order of the court. Because while the court can issue the order, the court cannot force the order's implementation. We have many cases that are like that right now. One big one, we have the one with the Maya land right issue that both governments have not adequately pursued to a fruition and a resolution. We had the case where the court decided that the government was supposed to pay Mr. Ashcroft some money and the borough government did not finish pay all that money. They played all kind of shenanigans, didn't pay the money until PUP came in and decided to pay it by taking money from the teachers and other civil servants in order to pay for it. So over and over, those are only 2 cases that I'm citing. There are many other cases. The court will not come to Belize and act as the government of Belize and carry out what the government is mandated to carry out. So for all intents and purposes, even if the young lady were to go to court and succeed at all the levels, that don't mean that she will be vindicated at the end of the day. But you mind or let them prevail at the Supreme Court. You know where kind of shenanigans that poor young lady want to get pulled through? Or if she win at the Supreme Court and they end up winning at the appellate court and she don't have money to carry through to the higher court, that means that the appellate court ruling stands. Same consequence to her. Or let's say she win at the Supreme Court and she win at the appellate court, and they go to the final court, the Caribbean Court of Justice, and they prevail then. She's still in trouble. So at every step of the way, they have the young lady exposed to the problems that she has to be able to overcome in order to, at the end of the day, be made whole. And I know every one of we want to have the opportunity to succeed at that level. It takes research, like I said. And the government have treasury in and in pocket. So they can take all kind of shenanigans when it comes to the economic part of that process. That's not to say the least that if the young lady not get a good lawyer, she could still lose her case because of, lack of proper representation. Because when you go to court, not because your case is not good, why you lose? Just because the other lawyer was better prepared or was a slicker or smarter or more researched lawyer or more capable lawyer. But anyhow, back to the young lady's situation and these criminal elements we have as government. That young lady is within her rights to stipulate that she feel aggrieved that the Prime Minister himself is libeling her or getting involved in her affairs. The Prime Minister should not be bending himself as a Prime Minister of Belize. He should not be bending himself down to try and get into his minister's private life and private affairs. That he as a Prime Minister wasn't there when these 2 people were cuddling up to each other and doing whatever they were doing. And to try and pretend that, well, he will make it whole. That's where the young lady have the right to declare that the state is victimizing her again. And she's of the impression that the way they are talking to her and about her is that if she don't exculpate that guy or ease off or back off so that guy could have a resurrection and a career, then she won't have to pay for hell and maybe heaven. She won't have to pay for both of them on her own because they're going to bring the whole thing down on her. As a matter of fact, I think she had to leave the country for a while for her own safety when the thing was running hot, right? So, for all intents and purposes, that young lady needs support economically, morally, socially. And I answer this again too, okay? Where was the Minister of Women Affairs? I recall the Minister of Women Affairs got up into the House when the issue was happening with the past leader of the opposition, Mr. Faber, when he had the issue of being cyber bullied. But I never hear none of them get up and say he was cyber bullied. When they take the video from the camera that showed him conducting himself in a disorderly manner. Nobody never said that he was being cyberbullied when we got that all over the internet. And nobody never said that he was being bullied when the Minister of Women Affairs got up in the House and lectured and talked and stipulated all manner of evil that the actions of that gentleman amounted to, and about how the young lady was being victimized. Nobody on that side of the aisle never get up and say the young lady was being recruited and put on a show because she knew the camera was rolling while the poor gentleman never knew he was being videotaped and caught red-handed misbehaving. Otherwise, he may not have acted in that manner. He never knew he was being videotaped, and he never knew that he was being cyberbullied until when he found out that the tape existed, because he was trying to dismiss the issue himself. But the evidence was there. The tape was there. So everybody get up and pontificated. Who is jumping up right now and pontificating on behalf of this young lady? Where is the woman, the Minister of Women Affairs, Madam Valderramos? What is good for the goose is good for the gander. If she is genuinely interested in women affairs, she will speak up for this woman in the House again, like she did for the other lady. She would speak up against her colleague, regardless of the fact that they're colleagues, probably even in cabinet. She would have within her rights to verbalize something in regards to this matter. In fact, the Prime Minister took it upon himself to verbalize something about the matter. Where is the Women Affairs Minister? Absent. They like that Ms. Barrow absent herself from the meeting of the House, then present themselves in the meeting of the House, but they're absent from articulating and verbalizing the issues that are germane to everybody, which is what that House is there for, to deal with the issues of the country and the people of the country, not just for who they want and who they don't want. The government is the government of the whole people. The House is the House of the whole people. And our ministers are ministers of all of our people. But when it's convenient, they play it in politics. So for all intents and purposes, I would like to ask, where is Madame Valderramos? We need to hear her, because she needs to be doing her job.
Mr. Brackett,
This lady.
I thank you for your input, but let me stipulate this. For every crime, you have to have a victim and you have to have a defendant. With all fairness to Minister Perez, this young lady has not filed a complaint to the police department.
The woman had to run for her life, brother.
As a lawyer, and you study law, the first thing should have come to mind is you go file a report. You cannot expect the police department to do an investigation when there is no report. And that is why I believe these attacks are coming at her. With that said, even though this is happening, what I'm trying to let the public at home and abroad see is how laws are passed, laws are misused, and how executive power can be used to change laws to protect certain individuals. With that said, we will go to our first break.
We proud to be Belizean. And every time I walk through the streets, I feel so blessed, so good and so free. And every time my foot touch the beach, I feel so at peace, thanking God for my country. And I don't know how it make you feel when the breeze such a fracas just touches you up, but I'm kinda living in a fantasy. It's the only place that I wanna be. My Belize, my homeland by the sea, beautiful with the trees and valleys, culture rich with a one big family. All the way from the mountains to the keys, your vacation dream is home to me. Belize. Make I tell you a little bit about my history. Home Belize was a British crown colony. By September 1981, we take back we country in a we hand. And every time I think about Belize, I feel so blessed, so good and so free. Place full of a diversity, we Creole got the culture asli la vie. And I don't know how it make you feel when the drums start not make you want to dig it up, but I'm kinda living in a fantasy. It's the only place that I wanna be. My Belize, my homeland by the sea, beautiful with the trees and valleys, culture rich with a one big family. All the way from the mountains to the keys, your vacation dream is home to me. Belize, my Belize, Belize.
Yes,
Now, gentlemen, to the second half of the program. The bill we are talking about, which is the defamation bill. Mr. Musa had said that with a case concerning the ex-police officer, if I can use that terminology, that Mr. Bradley was speaking out of context as though he wanted them to create laws for police officers and their wives. So let's say this.
We are not at all surprised that a court of law, once again in our country, has shown that you can get justice. The police were wrong from the get-go to charge all three persons and have them subjected to what they were subjected to. Having heard an experienced lawyer who is now a magistrate in the courts of this country go through the evidence, at the end of the day, Section 33 of the law is there in front of everybody, and foolishness will want appeal. What they are trying to say is that no police officer can have ammunition or gun or bulletproof vest. That the police make you sign out for the gun or no sign out, that is an internal matter. We are talking about a criminal charge that will land you in jail for a minimum of 5 years. There are two different things. I'm sorry that they don't pick that up. I'm sorry they don't pick that up. How many innocent people are facing charges when there is no crime that has been committed? There is a procedure. There is a procedure according to a witness that came to court in this case to say things which are not accurate in law. He can't give nobody permission to have firearms or equipment. He's merely... Yes, here we have in here. You hear when he not the armorer, he not the judge, he not the magistrate. The armorer is required to keep account. So much bullet gone to so.
Now, gentlemen, let's go to the second clip.
The defense counsel in this particular case, Mr. Bradley, who I have great respect for, oftentimes has to be walking a tightrope and has to strike a balance, and sometimes he may fall on the side, one side more than the other, because in that very same interview, I'm certain he mentioned that so many Belizeans go through this very same experience on a daily basis, whereby they're sitting in a motor vehicle or inside a house but have no connection to the ammunition, but because of our laws, everyone inside that motor vehicle or inside that house is charged. So is he saying that we're now to carve out a special law for police officers and their wives? Is he saying that? Or is he saying that all Belizeans likewise, this law affects everybody, not just Miss Callis. This law affects everybody.
But the magistrate did say that merely being in a place does not constitute possession.
But you have to prove that you're not in possession, because that onus then falls on you as an accused person being in a motor vehicle or being inside a house where no one is taking responsibility for the ammunition. Nobody has said that it is theirs. The onus then falls on you to defend, to show that you do not have a particular connection. And so, like Mr. Bradley oftentimes points out, this happens on a daily basis where criminals don't want to accept liability, and so everybody in the house is rounded up. And so it's not, I don't know if he's saying we need to carve out special legislation for them.
No, gentlemen, you have heard it, both videos. And Mr. Musa is saying and asking the question, does Mr. Bradley want him to carve out new laws for police officers and their wives? Now, the new defamatory bill, we will hear it, because that is exactly what Mr. Musa has done. They are carving out laws to suit certain individuals by categorizing the people living in Belize, which is unconstitutional under Section 6.1 of the Constitution, which says every citizen of this country should have equal protection.
Under the law.
And under this new law, this law will cover from legal officer to police officer, teachers, Coast Guard, BDF. And at the end of it, you know what it says? It says elected officials. So you will not have the right to say anything about them, as in Mr. Perez' case. If you should go there and say, you know what, if you look at him and you use the word, he is a predator, you can be charged and you can go to jail for 3 years.
3 years.
So I believe this law was created especially to protect ministers, because it is a law that will be inconsistent with the Constitution, which gives every Belizean citizen the right to protest and to call out their elected officials. So let's hear him speak about this new law that is coming down.
We have seen across the world where there are attacks and threats being made against various public officers and personalities in the media. In some countries, journalists are even killed. And we have recognized that there is a sort of imbalance in the legislation. Those individuals who are very public individuals and who are oftentimes targeted are not protected under the legislation. If an assault happens, it is considered to be a common assault, which the penalty is very low. And so we recognize the importance of protecting these individuals, because they have certainly a high presence in society, and it is necessary that they are offered at least the protection of an aggravated assault charge.
Now, gentlemen, isn't that carving out laws to suit certain individuals, which is inconsistent with our Constitution? And not only that, he said public officials. Public officials falls under employees who work for the government. Teachers does not fall in that category. Court reporters does not fall in that category. Anyone who goes and look up the word public official will see the definition and will understand that this bill was created around these people so
but
that
not
they
them.
can get it through to hide behind it.
Mhm.
Okay? Mr. Wade, let me hear you on that.
That's so true. That's so true. Like you says, that law was created using the word public officials, and you rightfully says who was categorized under the word public officials, and it's simply saying that you know that the ministers, what although he didn't mention that, he didn't mention um the elected officials, right? He didn't mention that. But it's there for public consumption. He didn't
No,
mention that.
Mr. Wade,
And
it is there in the thing that they write up at the bottom. That's the last entry at the
yeah,
bottom.
yeah. No, I said he
It's like,
didn't mention that
yeah, yeah.
verbally in
Because I
his
don't want people to know.
interview, right?
They
So
try. Mhm.
how candid and very, very sweetly behind the dark glasses, right? And didn't actually say the truth, right? What they tell on themselves, right? Always. So you're right. Rightfully says there, Greg. The law was created for them, using the word public officials, right? Like I said before, these guys are setting up themselves um, for what is yet to come. No,
Autocrat.
yes, right. So again, these guys are the gross violators of our constitution. Like I've said it more than once, and here is another splitting image of that, right? It's right there in front of our face, right? So they are, selecting certain class of people and putting them in a different class, and they can do this and do that and say that, and you'll be liable, but you cannot do this to certain people, but you could do this to other people, and it's a whole mess. It's a whole mess that these guys are doing. But what are they hiding for? What is their problem? That's my thing too. Why are they doing all this? To protect themselves? Are they trying to tell you, like, yeah, something is yet to come, so we're setting up this protection, so that when it happens, we are protected, right? So I mean, does that make any sense? So we cannot say nothing about these guys, how they're spending the taxpayers' money, right? How they are, the things that they are doing, the corruption, right? All using their office for personal gain, right? So you cannot say nothing. So they will get away and ride off in the sunset, right? Because of the laws they are making to cover their butts, and using, you know how low they will stoop, thinking that some people on the kitchen, how low they will stoop to use the public officers. Huh? Anyway, back to you, Mr. Chairman, because these guys here, man.
I thank you for that because the law is ludicrous. This law came about because they wanted to protect the council who was on strike, who also had asked for protection. But I believe that They saw a way how they can piggyback and create a law and add themselves onto it. And they came up with it as the reformatory bill, meaning you have to watch what you say to these people. But what is so cool about the bill is the bill extends the law even into private entity. If you are in your house and you are speaking defamatory about one of these elected officials and a policeman is passing and hear you, he can arrest you, which is crazy. Because as I said, Section 12 of our Constitution and the freedom of expression give you the right to orally criticize your elected official. And while there is some limit to it, the only thing you cannot do per se is to incite trouble, which is riot, or to discriminate, etc. But they cannot silence you from orally calling out them for what they are doing wrong. Let me hear from you, Mr. Brackett.
That is precisely their agenda, Mr. Chairman. Trying to silence you and I and Mr. Wade and other people like ourselves who criticize them for their shortcomings. But I want to go back to one of the clips that you played a little earlier with young Mr. Musa, Minister of Home Affairs. How dare this gentleman, as a lawyer at that, to intimate that people have to prove that they're not the ones responsible for being in possession of the weapon or the bullets or whatever. Where at hold the man come out? Where at hold the man come out? For they articulate that kind of idea or audacity. Even if the man contemplated those thoughts in his head, which as a lawyer shouldn't have any space for any kind of thoughts there, because he should know better. But even if the man contemplates anything in his head, how dare him to actually verbalize that and in public to a media operator or a media personnel, as if he wouldn't know better, or as if the law does not instruct him better. Is he trying to tell us that he's totally unaware of what our Constitution says? That you can't just arbitrarily and capriciously arrest somebody, keep them in prison. In fact, if the law that they've made mandates that people goes to prison so long as they're in possession of a gun or bullets. And as part of that same law, it says that even if they don't find them physically in possession of it, so long as it's anywhere where they are, they also can be hauled in as well as everybody else in the same area and alleged as individuals who can be charged and penalized and have them sit in jail for months until they get a lawyer and until they get their case heard, being on remand, wasting their time and being victimized. And then later on for the case to be thrown out and they can't get back the time that they lost in jail. But how dare Mr. Musa, as a lawyer, and as a lawyer whose family, his dad was a preeminent lawyer and has a major law firm on North Street, where I visited, like I said in one of the other shows them before, and noticed that Mr. Musa, the young Mr. Musa, was involved in his father's law firm, which means that something must have rubbed off of the elder Musa on this younger guy, even if he never picked it up at school or if he left it at school, while operating in that major law firm, he must have learned enough to know that when he opens his mouth and says that people don't want to accept culpability for possession of the weapons or the thing, so therefore everybody is entitled to be hauled in as is stipulated in the law. Why doesn't he get enough common sense in his head? Which I think he has, because he actually also verbalized by saying that there are women and children that who gets victimized by that law, which means that he recognizes, as I'm saying, the gentleman can't be that much of a fool or ignorant of the fact when he's actually verbalizing what the facts are, that there are people out there being victimized. Why can't he get to the point, which is to say, we need our government to look at those kind of victimizing laws, egregious laws, and correct them.
Amen to that.
That's his responsibility as an elected official, especially as a minister of police, to not have his police officers going out there and arresting whole groups of people, as he is saying, because nobody wants to accept or acknowledge that they're in possession, and therefore they have to prove that they're innocent, or that they have to prove that they weren't the one that the gun. He's putting the law on his head. He's putting our constitution on his head. And he's pretending like he doesn't understand or know better. And I'm saying to him, how dare he act like that or speak like that when he's capable and supposed to know better? You want to carry him in a court for telling that? You should be glad I'm educating him about probably what he's implying that he doesn't know in public at that. That's the reason why we have to articulate and verbalize and stipulate these things about him and his behavior or his statements in public as well. The public must know that he's not correct in what he's saying to the public. The law says you're not guilty until proven guilty or until you declare yourself guilty. So therefore, his responsibility as the Minister of Police is to have his police officers go out there and do their investigation to see who the bullets or the guns belong to, arrest that person instead of everybody else, victimize everybody else, and take them to court, process them, and if they can win the case against the person, send the person to jail and make them suffer in time. Because the weapons and the bullets have to belong to somebody. But I could tell you there are many times when police officers plant those things too. I'm not lying on them, nor am I trying to besmirch them or be mean to them or be unfair to them. I know all police officers are good officers, and I know all police officers are bad officers. But you have some rogue officers that commit crimes under the color of law. Then grab people, beat up people, and then turn around and accuse the people them of resisting arrest when they're the one to do the beat down. Under this new law now, their officers are supposed to be taken to court, like Greg was saying earlier, instead of sending them to go and get excused from internal review from the colleagues in the police department. Carry them but the court. And then, since Mr. Musa has said that the people now, whether they run the gun or the bullets there, have to prove that they are innocent, then the officer have to prove his innocence too. So lock him both up until on remand until the case come up. Do like when they do with the civilians, because we are all equal under the law, as Section 6 says. But my point, as I'm saying, it's kind of ludicrous that the gentleman would stipulate, contrary to what the Constitution says, and contrary to what any judge would stipulate if he were to take a case in front of any judge, to say that they bring this person from the police department
Mr. Brackett,
to the court because
Mr. Brackett, let me help you here.
Of a crime. Bring your proof.
Mr. Brackett.
Yes, sir.
Let me help you here.
Go ahead.
Mr. Musa is not above the law, and he cannot speak about unconstitutional act The judge in the case, you heard the reporter said, if 5 people are sitting in a vehicle and they find a gun and a bullet, it does not constitute possession. So by the Constitution, you are innocent until proven guilty. And it is not up to you to prove your innocence. The burden of proof
Exactly.
is on the police department
To do the
and
investigation.
the DPP.
Mhm.
Okay? That is where the burden of proof is at. But with that said, I want the people at home and abroad to be
Greg,
aware. Yes, I
we're
see it.
beyond. Go ahead.
Yes,
Finish,
I
finish up.
want the people at home and abroad to be aware of this new bill that we are talking about, the defamatory bill,
It's going to do a
because
lot of
it will
damage.
affect
A lot
young
of people won't get
people,
hurt.
it affect people, it will stop females from going to try to persecute individuals. Because if they go to court and they loses a case, they can turn around and sue them or they can be charged. And with that said, I want them to hear what is being said about the new bill.
Listen, because of the time, and I know what you're giving is valuable, but I want you to, I know you don't want to comment because you haven't seen the bill. Yeah. But just based on what we've given you so far, you could understand defamatory protection of all of these other officers. I mean, police, Coast Guard, school teacher. You can't go in a classroom and cuss out the teacher because the teacher give your student, your child an F or whatever. Yeah. I understand that. But I don't understand it for an elected representative within the culture of us cussing you when you're a politician anyway. Look here, let me put it in another jurisdiction. Man, you could call Joe Biden he half sleep. You could tell, you could say Trump here look like somebody. He one of the most simple man you've ever. You could what was this comedian Bill Maher? You could say his father is a gorilla. I mean, you got a level of freedom of expression.
Trump recently.
That I mean, I know totally think it ought to be total open packet. But I could not understand what that attorney, I couldn't completely understand that. That attorney is basically saying that if they hear you on this show in a closed environment saying things that they consider defamatory, even though it might be a part of a commercial, which is
it's not in a closed quarters. There is a big distinction.
But suppose I start mentioning.
Gentlemen and people at home and abroad, you heard it for yourself. With that said, I would like to thank you, the people at home and abroad, for tuning in tonight on this our 59th edition of Belizean Affairs. And as I said before, sitting with me virtually as my host, Mr. Roody and Mr. Leonard Brackett. With that said, we would like to invite you to tune in again on Wednesday for our 60th edition of Belizean Affair. With that said, we would like to sign out of this episode of Belizean Affair, thanking you that you have tuned in, and I hope you have gained a lot of educational content from it. I thank you all.